So people often will ask me, maybe not at Emanu-El, but anywhere else I go, they'll ask me, is it okay to be gay and a rabbi? Is it okay to be gay and Jewish? The answer, of course, is yes. And it's not just because it's 2025 and we live in San Francisco. Being gay, or more broadly, being queer, is a reality that appears throughout hundreds and thousands of years of Jewish experience. This is reflected, we're people of the book after all, this is reflected in the wide canon of Jewish literature. In 2019, there was a groundbreaking anthology of queer Jewish texts that was published by the scholar Noam Sienna. A Rainbow Thread, as it's titled, testifies to the queer lives and stories from as early as the year 70 of the Common Era. The history it reveals is not always kind. In fact, it can be oppressive and regrettable. Still, accessing first-hand accounts showing queer people simply existing is remarkable. Among the many texts dated from the Second Temple period up until the 1960s counterculture is a brief but powerful story. And according to a Rainbow Thread, it's the only record of same-sex intimacy in the entire Talmud. What makes it even more surprising to me is just how relatable it is, not a legal, dry legal discussion or an esoteric metaphor, as the Talmud tends to be often. But this story is a glimpse of actual lived experience. In this brief account, which takes place in a Beit Midrash, or center of learning, a teacher ascends the roof and encounters two male students engaged in a sexual act. Startled and prepared for a rebuke, the two students quickly recall the Jewish law that witness testimony requires at least two witnesses in court. If their act was illegal, in other words, you can't testify against us alone. So directly and hilariously in my mind, one of the students says to his teacher, "Remember, Rabbi, you are one and we are two." This text isn't just about law and witnesses, though, but A+ to these students for knowing their stuff. This text reflects how past generations responded to queer existence. And queerness, by the way, I just want to state, it's about living authentically when your truth doesn't fit the majority. It's about resisting the pressure to conform. And in that way, it's deeply Jewish. After all, we come from a people who wandered deserts and questioned authority. Our very name, Yisrael, means the one who wrestles with God. But in this story, we get to see what happened in the Beit Midrash. Since the anthology ends in 1969, much has happened. Many here tonight will remember the decades since then well. Others of us will remember a few of those decades, and others of us will remember none of those decades since the 60s. But here we are in San Francisco, facing our own challenges and celebrations. It's a time of great transformation, even as earlier progress faces threats and we witness the erosion of a humane society that lifts up all people. This struggle for recognition and dignity is also reflected in the week's Torah portion, which is about rebellion, pride is a riot, as much as it is about holiness. In our Torah portion, a man named Korach leads an uprising against the authority of Moses and Aaron, who, according to him, are claiming too much spiritual power. Korach says, Kol ha'ida kulam kedoshim v'tocham Adonai, he says. The entire community is holy, not just you, and God dwells among all of us. The rebellion itself does end tragically, but Korach's core claim that everyone carries holiness still resonates. As queer Jews, we know what it is to challenge systems that exclude. And we know, sometimes painfully, what it is to be told we don't belong. At the end of this Torah portion, Korach, we're left with way more questions than answers. Was it wrong to challenge the holiness of Moses and Aaron? Is it wrong to insist that everyone is holy, each of us a sacred creation of God? And then in defense of Moses, when he was accused, he fell on his face. We don't know if he was ashamed or angry or despairing. The rebellion and the anger in this Torah portion, they were flawed, even disastrous. Korach and his uprising are swallowed up by God and sent to Sheol, the underworld. The story is an attempt at justice that failed to bring universal healing, failed to bring justice. and this is a persistent issue in every generation. But still, with the wisdom of a rainbow thread, with the wisdom of Korach, we can affirm that core claim that all of us carry a spark of holiness. Anyone who thinks otherwise misunderstands God. This truth is often absent in our politics, in our culture, and in our community. I'm willing to bet it's even been absent from this community at times. But all of us are human, only human, and in many ways, that's enough. So let us embrace our humanity and take pride in our love and survival. It's a Jewish thing to be queer, and it's a queer thing to be Jewish. Whether you identify as GLBTQIA+, somewhere outside of that, somewhere in between, or simply as someone who's committed to kindness toward friends, family, and neighbors, we are all reflecting light. I celebrated my 1-year anniversary earlier this week, and at the ketubah signing, before my wedding, my late grandfather-in-law, Chaim Sheridan, who was an Orthodox Jew and a Holocaust survivor, offered Noah and me a blessing and a teaching about the rainbow. The rainbow is a sign of God's covenant with the Jewish people. The rainbow, Chaim taught, is formed when the sun's rays bounce off water and clouds, transforming darkness into light, hope and promise emerging from difficult places. Each of us, he said, is a unique color. It's that very diversity that gives the rainbow its beauty and power, not just for queer people, but for Jews, and ultimately for all humans. Among us tonight, and streaming online, are those who have lived through the AIDS epidemic and those who were born well after it. Some of us faced bullying and harassment for being who we were. Some of us were born to 2 moms or 2 dads. All of us, in our way, are like the boys on the roof from the Talmud, holy and special simply because we exist. That being has cemented queerness forever into our collective Jewish story. And tonight, in these very pews, we celebrate the human elements of that rainbow. Some of us might be gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, or queer and out about it. Others are still discovering or not yet ready to share that part of themselves. It is a blessing to be here, bathing in the rainbow under the dome. Let's check out the light in here this evening. I want to do something very special under these rainbow lights. I want to call up any member of our community who identifies as LGBTQ+. I want you to think about it for a second, and if you're not too daunted by the steps up here, I want to invite you up to this bima. And if you're at home, maybe you'll stand in place. But if you're here, I want to gently, warmly invite you to actually take some steps and let's all form a mass up here. Yes, Terrible and Miss Gefilte Fish will lead the way. Come up here, and we want to offer you a communal blessing for this Pride Month. Some people will be left, I'm sure. Gather around, come in nice and close. That's pretty cool. First of all, wow. It's quite an honor and possibly even historical that under this very storied dome, Congregation Emanu-El, we make up such a large contingent of this community. It's an honor to share this bima with you. On the occasion of Pride Shabbat at Congregation Emanu-El, lit up by these lights, rainbow under the dome, may we appreciate that we are each a perfect reflection of our origins, messy, varied, and bright. May we, like those who came before us, trust the truth of who we are. May we know ourselves fully and believe in our inherent worth. And may we live with the clarity and courage to take pride in ourselves and each other. Amen, amen. Thank you all. You can return to your seats.